Your brain is not the only nervous system running your body right now. There is a second one. It has 500 million neurons. It makes decisions your brain never gets told about. It controls your mood, your immune response, and something that most people have heard of but never understood. The feeling in your gut before your mind has caught up. And it is not a backup system. It is not a simplified version of the brain. It is an independent nervous system, older than the brain in evolutionary terms, operating right now in the lining of your gut without asking your permission. Your brain is the one that learned to read. This system was already running, and what this second nervous system is actually doing inside you right now, that is the part that changes everything. Your gut is approximately 9 meters long. From the moment food enters your esophagus to the moment it exits your system, it travels through a structure containing more neurons than your entire spinal cord. Think of it like this. If you unrolled your small intestine alone, it would cover a surface area roughly the size of a tennis court. And every centimeter of that surface is lined with a neural network that monitors, responds, and communicates. This is the enteric nervous system. And unlike any other organ system in your body, it does not need your brain to function. It has its own sensory neurons that detect stretch, pressure, and chemical composition. It has its own motor neurons that control muscle contractions. It has its own inner neurons that process the information and decide what to do. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. Always talk to your doctor before making any changes to your health or lifestyle. BodyVault AI uses AI-powered 3D visualization to explain what science already knows about the human body. We are here to educate, not prescribe. The enteric nervous system runs peristalsis, the rhythmic wave of muscle contractions that moves food through your gut without any instruction from your brain. You do not consciously decide to move food through your intestines. You do not need to think about it. Your brain does not manage it. The gut does. So how does a nervous system that has never read a neuroscience textbook know exactly what to do? Because the sequence it runs is more sophisticated than anything most people have been told. Here is what most explanations get wrong about the gut-brain connection. They describe it as if the brain is sending instructions downward to the gut. The brain decides. The gut obeys. The gut is the managed system. That is not what the anatomy shows. Your gut is not waiting for instructions from your brain. Your gut is processing information on its own, constantly, in real time, before your brain is involved at all. The enteric nervous system has two main layers: the myenteric plexus, which coordinates muscle movement, and the submucosal plexus, which monitors what is inside the gut. Both layers contain sensory neurons, motor neurons, and processing inner neurons. Both layers operate independently. When food enters the small intestine, sensory neurons in the submucosal plexus detect its chemical composition. The proteins, fats, sugars, acids, they detect the physical pressure as food stretches the gut wall, and they respond long before your brain has processed a single piece of information about what you just ate. Did you know your gut contains 500 million neurons, more than your spinal cord? And unlike most of your nervous system, the enteric nervous system can operate completely independently. If the vagal nerve connecting your gut to your brain were severed, your gut would continue functioning on its own. 500 million in a 9-meter tube, running without instruction. That is not a support system. That is a second brain. Now here is where the anatomy gets more specific, because this independence is not just structural, it is chemical. Your gut produces its own neurotransmitters, the same chemical messengers your brain uses to regulate mood, sensation, and response. It produces dopamine. It produces GABA. It produces acetylcholine. And it produces something that most people associate entirely with the brain and gets almost entirely wrong about where it comes from. Your gut produces approximately 90% of your body's serotonin, not your brain, your gut. The chemical most associated with mood regulation, made in the gut, acting on the gut, and communicating with the brain through pathways most people have never heard of. But here is where the research gets genuinely surprising. Because what scientists discovered about the hippocampus and serotonin changed how we understand memory itself. Here is what the vagal nerve actually is. It is the longest cranial nerve in your body, running from your brainstem all the way down through your chest and into your abdomen, connecting your brain to your heart, lungs, and gut. For decades, scientists assumed the vagal nerve was primarily a downward pathway, brain to gut, central nervous system sending instructions to the peripheral system, the commander talking to the troops. What the research showed is that the signal traffic runs almost entirely in the other direction. Approximately 90% of the signals traveling along the vagal nerve move upward from gut to brain rather than downward. Your gut is not primarily receiving instructions from the brain. Your gut is primarily sending information to the brain. The commander is not the one doing most of the talking. Think of it like this. The vagal nerve is less like a phone line from headquarters to a remote office and more like a news feed. The gut broadcasting continuously about everything it detects and the brain receiving and responding. Did you know that approximately 90% of the serotonin in your body is produced in the gut, not the brain? Serotonin is associated with mood regulation in research. Most of the biological system influencing your emotional state is living in your digestive tract, not your skull. This is 0.1 millimeters, the width of a single vagal nerve fiber. Through fibers no wider than a human hair, your gut is running a continuous broadcast to your brain about what you have eaten, what chemicals are present, what the microbial environment looks like, whether something has changed, and your brain is shaped by this signal continuously. And what they found when they traced those signals all the way to the brain is the part that explains something you have felt your entire life but never had the biology for. Here is the fact that stops most people. When you feel a gut instinct, that wordless certainty before your brain has processed anything, your gut nervous system has already fired. It detected a chemical signal. It detected a mechanical change. It processed that information independently through its 500 million neurons and sent a signal upstream along the vagal nerve to regions of your brain involved in emotional processing. What you experience as instinct is your gut's report arriving in your consciousness. Your brain receives the memo. Your gut wrote it. Research suggests that the gut-brain axis plays a role in anxiety, mood, and cognitive function, though the exact mechanisms continue to be studied and understood. Did you know that approximately 90% of signals traveling along the vagal nerve move upward from gut to brain rather than downward? Most people assume the brain is running the gut. The anatomy shows the gut is primarily reporting to the brain. Some people find, and this is not a prescription, that the feeling of a gut instinct arrives before conscious thought, not because intuition is mysterious, but because the biological system that generates it operates faster than the cortical processing that produces conscious awareness. It is not a metaphor. It is a nervous system running its own program. Which brings us to what surprised us most when we went inside the gut, and why it changes how you understand every instinct you have ever had. Your gut has been running this program since before you were born. It does not know your brain's permission. It does not wait for your conscious mind to catch up. It detects, it processes, it responds, it reports. And every instinct you have ever trusted, every moment of wordless certainty, every time your stomach tightened before your mind understood why, that was this system, working exactly as it was designed to. You were never just listening to your brain. You were always listening to both. Now you know what the second one is actually doing. Next time, we are going inside the immune system. And what we found about how it decides what is dangerous and what is not is one of the most counterintuitive discoveries in modern biology.